morning. I'm Chris, and this is Worthington Home. I hope you had a fabulous Thanksgiving. I'm recording this footage on Sunday, so Thanksgiving is a few days past by now. We had a wonderful time. We hosted a very small gathering here at our house, and it was really fun to try out some new recipes. I actually picked up a cookbook on Amazon from a YouTube channel creator that I follow, Ann Scarberry. And I decided to try a few different variations on my old favorites. I used her recipes for cranberry sauce, cornbread stuffing, sweet potatoes, and mashed potatoes. And that's a little dangerous to experiment with new recipes for a holiday because you want everything to come out perfectly, and it's hard to know when you're doing something for the first time. But it was fabulous. Pretty easy, all said and done, and I will definitely be using all of those recipes again in the future. It was also really fun to break out some of my china and my tablecloth and a few other things, so I just want to show you what the table looked like because I think you'll get a kick out of it. So I decided to go with my Lenox tablecloth. I thought the red, well, certainly you could argue, has some Christmas vibes. I just thought it really brought out the red in the leaves and the wallpaper, and I love the way the brown and white transferware pops against it. So here are my plates. I've had these for years. My mother bought me this whole set when I was in my 20s. And I've got my old chargers that are just cheapy plastic, but I really think the brown tones of the charger look really nice with the plate. And I've got my mother's silver set. This is Gorham Chantilly lace. And I have some water goblets that Eric and I thrifted a while ago. And the knife rests and salt cellars we picked up at an estate sale. This centerpiece is a recent acquisition. I don't know if you've seen that video yet, but that came out of a beautiful house in New Haven. This brass tray was also recently thrifted from an estate sale. Can't even remember which one. I think it was in North Haven. We already had these brass candlesticks, and I popped these little tiny berry wreaths around them. In case you're wondering, Destructo cats are away. They are in the sunroom with the door closed because we're just a small gathering for Thanksgiving. My father-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my brother-in-law, but my brother-in-law is allergic to cats. He really likes them, but he is very allergic. So we put them in a way so they wouldn't try to crawl all over the table and do who knows what, which will only aggravate allergies. So I'm hoping that the house is clean and vacuumed enough to keep his allergies down. But I like the way the table looks. It is kind of nice to be able to do some of the setting of the table without the cats under my feet. I'm not gonna lie. And of course, I wish I had real flowers, but even with the cats locked away, I'm not willing to bring real flowers in. It's just not worth it. So these are fake, but they bring in some color and some interest. When we get a little closer to company arriving, I will light these candles. These are real candles. I'm using real candles because the cats are away. Otherwise, I would not. And that's how it looks. I think it's very pretty. I thought you might appreciate seeing the table decked out actually with all of the food, and now you can see some of the serving pieces that I used. So more of that brown and white transferware, none of it is matched. They're all different pieces. And I used this fabulous covered dish that I had recently thrifted from Goodwill. It held all of the mashed potatoes and worked perfectly. What you didn't see in that footage was the amazing pie my sister-in-law Diane made. She made a chocolate pie with a homemade crust, and she made a pumpkin pie, but she didn't use canned pumpkins. She actually cooked the pumpkins, which is something I've never done. Have you ever done that? I have never used real pumpkins in cooking ever. I've only used them for decor. And I have to say, I am historically not at all a fan of pumpkin pie because I find it to be a little bit like slimy in consistency, but with the real pumpkins, it wasn't like that at all. The texture was it's just kind of heavier. It was a much nicer, it was a drier texture. It was really, really good. So that disappeared super fast. And fortunately, there were enough leftovers from dinner and dessert for all of us to take some home, including my father-in-law. So I would say all in done, it was a very successful day. But as soon as everybody left, Eric and I got straight to work because we have been scrambling. So you might recall, if you're a watcher of this channel, that I had an online estate sale that was taking up a great deal of my time and energy. And I was really looking forward to having a few days of downtime. However, during pickup, which went very smoothly, all was good. It was a very positive end for the sale. Indy. I got a text message from the owner of Quality Consignment in Colchester, where my booth space is. And she said, "Great news, your booth is ready for you right now." So what was originally January 1st and then maybe December 1st turned into right now. So we wanted to get in there as fast as we could. We knew we needed a few days to turn things around. I had lots of ideas in the works, but I thought I was going to have just a few more days to get those up and running. Thank God for Eric. He was a trooper. He did much of the heavy lifting in terms of getting me ready. But before I even show you that, I want to show you some of the inspiration pictures that I was working from, because I went on Pinterest just to get some ideas. I wanted the booth to feel cohesive and I wanted it to have some color. I wasn't exactly sure what I want. And when you're feeling stuck for ideas, there is no better place to go, in my opinion, than Pinterest. So let me show you my board. Here are just a few of the inspiration pictures that really spoke to me. And what I was trying to do was really single out what was most calling to me. What did I find most eye-catching? And in these cases, you will see it was the green paint. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Now here's the dilemma. You can have lots of ideas in your head, but until you get into a physical space and measure it really carefully and see everything all together, you've got to be prepared to make some adjustments. And I definitely made a lot of adjustments in terms of what I was planning to do, because Eric came with me to Quality Consignment to really look at the space. And he felt strongly that we needed walls or like borders on either side to mark off my booth. Now there were things in place already. There were a set of shutters that were too delicate to use. There was actually a sign to that effect. And there was a very old door on the other side that had a great look, but again, you couldn't really screw things into it or use it in any functioning way. I had picked up a lot of shelves, but Eric was really concerned that they would not be secure enough for lots of people in and out of the space, picking up fragile objects. God forbid anything fell or was dangerous or whatever. So he came up with the idea, which was an excellent idea, in my opinion, to build a wall of shelves on one side and then build a pegboard wall on the other side. So we went to Home Depot and Lowe's picking up what we needed, and he got to work in the basement and then the barn. So here's what he did. Here are the beginning of the shelves. Eric has put these together. They're 8 feet tall, so quite large. And the width matches the space of the booth exactly without infringing on any aisle space, because obviously we need to keep those clear for shoppers. But you can see this is quite a substantial piece. I think it's going to hold a lot, and I think it's going to really define the booth space nicely. I'm headed into the basement so I can show you a few things that are ready for the booth space, including this shelf that will be wall mounted. It was actually too long, so Eric made it shorter, and he was actually able to create this little tiny version as well. Now, this color green I am still feeling iffy about. It's very minty in real life. It's not coming up quite as minty on screen. But the reason why I picked this was because I wanted green accents in the booth, and we had a ton of green paint left over from Eric's garage project next door. So it seemed silly to buy all new paint when we already had so much of it. I brought the old paint to Benjamin Moore to see what they would recommend in terms of a green to go with it. And this one seemed to be a good match. We also have this little bench, which is very cute. We picked that out of Eric's dad's store. It was pretty rough and rustic, and I really wanted it to be a display piece. So I think it looks nice cleaned up. Again, I don't know if I love this green, but I think when we put it all together, it will work just fine. And then the last thing we have is this metal rack. This, I don't know, these are shelves or something that I had picked up. I think I paid $10 for this at a tag sale, and Eric spray painted it a white color for me because it was very rusty and damaged, and now it looks much, much better. So all of these things are coming with us on Friday, and hopefully they all work. It's really hard to know what's going to work until you see something in a space. So fingers crossed this is a hit. We shall see. As you can see, Eric has begun painting the shelves. I think the color looks really nice. It's really consistent with what I was imagining. This color is called Avon Green, and as I mentioned before, I think it's by Benjamin Moore, and this is the same color that he had planned to use for the garage doors next door, but ultimately he went with a white color instead. But I think it's coming out well, and I am so grateful to Eric. He has been working so hard to make this happen for me. Meanwhile, I was doing lots of things. I was gathering all of the items that I had planned to use for the booth space. I had been keeping that in a room in my father-in-law's house because we are so extremely out of storage space here. And fortunately, he had a room he wasn't using. So I had put a lot of things in there. I had a lot more stuff I needed to bring over. I needed to make sure everything was cleaned. I needed to make decisions about what was going first. Everything needed to be priced. Then everything needed to be packed. Just a lot of thinking and planning that was going into things. And we didn't have that much time to get it all together, so that kind of added to the pressure, on top of which, I was already tired from the estate sale. We were hosting Thanksgiving, and I was expecting Zach to be home, probably with his girlfriend, and wanted the house ready for them. So it's just a lot of moving parts. Move-in day, it was stressful. It was really stressful because we needed my father-in-law's van to really accommodate everything. We used his van and Eric's pickup truck. And my father-in-law is 87, and he is definitely a creature of habit. So he was already out of his zone of comfort from Thanksgiving the day before because, places were closed, so he couldn't get his coffee in his regular location. He didn't go to his store as usual because we were having Thanksgiving at our house. That does not bring out, his happy. So for the next day, the very next day, for him to, again, not go out and get coffee, again, not take his van to the store, that's hard. And so we were trying to build everything up and get everything together quickly so that my father-in-law could take his van back and return to his store and his regular life. So a little bit of pressure there. We got to the store 2 hours early, so it opens at 10. We got there at 8 with the idea that we could move heavy pieces of furniture around without, bothering other shoppers or bothering other vendors. We didn't want to cause any commotion. So we got there at 8, and I have cat hair in my mouth as usual. And by 10 o'clock, everything was installed, but I was definitely not ready. And it was hard to get everything on the shelves because I didn't have a lot of space to work with. My booth is pretty small. I didn't want to move things into like aisles because I wanted shoppers to be able to come and go. So I kept running things out to the truck that I wasn't going to use anymore so I could make some space. Oh my gosh, yeah, it was just a lot. And then I had pre-priced things, but I hadn't put the tags on anything because I thought it might get like bent when I packed it. So that was kind of another layer. And then I decided to use a few more things that I hadn't priced anyway. I was there for like 8 hours. Just trying to get it all put together on really no sleep. But I was happy with how it came out. Now I had to make my peace with the fact that it wasn't exactly as I would have it in a perfect world, but it was a really good starting point. I could see that there was lots of room on shelves and things that I could take advantage of and will take advantage of in the future. So let me show you how it turned out. Good morning, friends. Today is booth move-in day. I am excited and a little bit daunted. Eric is helping, his dad is helping. We're gonna try to get things up and running. I'm trying to make my peace with the fact that it isn't gonna be exactly as I want it on day one, but it will be a start, I hope. Beginning with the bookcases that may or may not be too big to fit. Oh, please let them fit. We'll find out. I'm also gonna drive Eric's truck for the first time ever, so that's terrifying. Let's go. It is really cold out here. You can see the barn is a mess from being used as a workshop. The shelves and pegboard are in the back of Eric's truck. And over here is the van where the rest is going. You can see the van is definitely packed. We've got lots of things in here. There's no way this would have ever fit in my Toyota, so it's lucky that we have access to this van. And there is Eric going back over to the truck to make sure everything is secure and nothing's gonna, go flying out on the highway, because that would be bad. All right, turns out I'm driving the van and not his truck. This is an experience. Here's Eric and his dad. Eric is measuring things, as you can see, making sure it's all level. There are the walls that he's created. And he's just securing them with this top piece. Eventually we'll be able to hang things from up here, but we didn't get quite that far today. I think we did a lot, and I'm happy with how this space is turning out. Wow, I am daunted trying to figure out what goes where. This is tough. Those plate racks, by the way, are just for display, not for sale. I have a lot of stuff and I need to figure where it's all going. So some progress has been made. As you can see, I've gotten a little farther along. It's starting to look something like a booth. You haven't seen those canisters yet, by the way, that are on that top shelf, because that's coming in a video that will probably be out on Friday-ish. So you'll see them soon. That picture at the back wall is already sold, so that's a good thing. And yeah, it's getting there. All right, final result, I am about to head home. I can do no more, but this is what I ended up with, and I realized there are some empty spaces that I could utilize better. I just can't figure out what to do today. I have lots more stuff back at home. I'll come back in a few days and fill in these last little spaces, but I think this is a solid start. And here's one last look. Wow, am I glad to be going home. All I can think about is taking a nap. That is definitely in the future. And I'm also just reminding myself that Rome wasn't built in a day. It will take me some time to figure out how to sell in a retail space. I'm sure I'll get there. Wish me luck. So what do you think? It was a good start, right? I think I liked the way it looked. I loved the color green we used. I think it is actually a neutral feeling, I think, even though it's color, and it gives all of the china and other things a way to kind of pop off of that color so you really see them. I liked green especially because I think green is obviously great for Christmas. It's great for St. Patrick's Day. It's great for spring. It's great for summer. If you add in some autumnal colors, it's great in the fall. So I figured it would always look appropriate no matter what time of year it was, and it would always give a little bit of interest and yeah, just give a great background for china and other things to kind of play off of. So I'm happy with it. I would love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. If you've been a viewer of this channel for a while, you may remember about 6 months or so ago, Teddy Blake kindly gifted this fabulous bag to me. And I gave it glowing recommendations at the time, but it's difficult to really talk about the quality of a bag until you've used it for a while. And boy, has this guy had some very hard use, including flea markets and tag sales and estate sales and thrifting all around the state of Connecticut and parts of New England. So having used this for a while, I can tell you, no surprise here, this bag has been at least as good as I had hoped it would be, and in fact, I would say even better. It has retained its condition beautifully. Look at the leather. It is not scratched, marked, or dinged. And I am the first person to tell you I am not careful with my things. This bag has made it through all kinds of crazy thrifting adventures. I love the color. I knew I would. It's an awesome neutral. The bag holds all of my essentials, which I find is so important. I don't like to change to bigger or smaller wallets. I don't like to have to reduce the amounts of things I typically carry. This bag really holds it all and then some. I have loved the feet. It's helped keep the bottom from being super scuffed, which I really appreciate. And it's been really fun because I have gotten stopped by strangers to receive compliments from this bag, including when I went to University of New Hampshire. I was stopped by several college students who wanted to particularly give me comments and feedback on this bag. So all around, a hit. That's why I was so excited when Teddy Blake reached out to me again for this collaboration. In a nutshell, they are having a fabulous holiday sale. So their prices, which are already very fair for high quality Italian leather, are even better over the Christmas season. In fact, they are so good that I bought one. So let me show you the one I picked out.
This is the Lola Croco 12-inch. I really needed a new black bag. The one I've been using is too small to hold my full-size wallet, and I'm sick of switching out wallets. As you can see from this image, the price is greatly reduced, but there was a further reduction at checkout when I purchased it. So all in all, this bag cost me $315. Now, I realize that's not an inexpensive price, but in my opinion, it's a fair price for a high-end Italian leather bag. Essentially, it's a luxury bag without a luxury cost. Now that the holidays are upon us, this is the perfect time to pick up a Teddy Blake bag for yourself or as a generous gift for a loved one. The challenge, I will warn you in advance, will be figuring out which one to buy because there are so many good ones. I'm sharing just a few favorites here, but go to the website to see even more beautiful bags. I'm hoping I may be able to offer you an additional discount. If so, I'll provide it in the video description, along with a link to the Teddy Blake website.
I just want to thank Teddy Blake so much for sponsoring this portion of the video and for gifting me this fabulous bag. I am so excited to receive my new one. Oh my goodness, I'll be checking the mail every day. I will be sure to show you when it comes in. I can't wait. So my plan for today is to do some Christmas decorating. I am excited to do that. Eric helped me get all of the bins and the trees and things out from the attic yesterday. It is miserable doing that because there is so much stuff in the attic, and to get to the cedar closet where I keep all of our decorations, you have to go through this little tiny door, and it's it's hard to like hunch over and carry bins and slide them, and you don't want the cats getting in there. It's a little bit of a haul. So he was great. He helped me. I was hoping to get started yesterday, but I just couldn't swing it. I really needed to take my time to put all of the fall stuff away. I wanted to do a little bit of cleaning so I'd have a blank slate. I had some eBay stuff that I needed to pull so that Eric could ship it. I had a video to get out. You know, all the life stuff had to happen, right? But today, I am here for it. And I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun. So I will tell you, I have one strong rule, and I hope you follow this rule. Everyone should follow this rule. This is the essential rule for decorating for Christmas or for any holiday or any season. And that rule is there should never be any rule. My rule is no rule. It's the anti-rule. I think you should do exactly what makes you happy. And if that means decorating every square corner of your house, go for it. If that means you don't want to decorate a thing in this world, don't do it. I think there is no right or wrong. It's just, if it's not fun, then don't do it. So I'm going to see how I feel. I'm going to see what I'm up for. I might not do all the things today. I might do it in phases. I'm just going to enjoy it. And I'm also planning to do things really differently because for the past few years, I've always put a tree in the library. And this year, I'm going to put the tree in the dining room because I spend more time in the dining room than the library these days. And we have a nice big bay window. It is my nemesis because that's what causes all the glare I get on my glasses. But I think the Christmas tree will look beautiful. And then when we drive up to the house at night, we can see it all lit up. So I think that's going to be really nice. And I think I'm going to make some different kinds of choices. I have some ideas. We'll see how they pan out. And I'm also going to choose my ornaments with care. Nothing super fragile. We have Destructo cats. I do plan to wire each and every ornament with floral wire so things can't get smacked off. One of the things that happens in this house is the cats smack things off and then the dogs chew them to smithereens. So it's like a, group effort to destroy my house. Not this time. I have floral wire. So I'm going to start with the Christmas tree in the dining room. That is operation number 1. So let's get to it.
Of course, our first step is to put the artificial tree together. Like most artificial trees, mine's in 3 sections. I don't have a pre-lit tree, by the way. I've had them in the past and I always have electrical issues and end up frustrated. So this is a pretty straightforward tree. I'm just going to put the different parts together. And then, of course, the most important thing is fluffing it up to make sure you can't see big portions of the rod holding it together, because that certainly gives away the game. So I'm just going to get this inserted into the right spot. I had a real tree for years, by the way, and I just got really sick of all of the pine needles. No matter what I did, no matter how much I watered, I always ended up with pine needles everywhere. And if you live in an old house, there's usually big gaps between the floorboards. Those pine needles get in there and they never come out again. Look at this cat. He's crazy. He's already climbing the tree. We need a cat extraction. Let's get him out of here. Cute little guy. All right, he's down. Back to work. All right, here's that fluffing up part we talked about. I don't know how I shoved this thing into its bag, but every single branch is like curled and twisted. So I'm needing to really make sure these branches are where they need to be. And of course, by making sure they're as straight as possible, it will be much easier when I go to hang ornaments on them. So I'll just keep working until this part is done. As you can see, I've made a lot of progress. This is definitely looking more tree-like than it did when we got started. Okay, cat extraction number 2. Let's get him out of here. Oh boy, there he is. We've seen this guy before. By the way, that wreath isn't staying there in the background, in case you're wondering. This is my childhood ornament. I had this from the earliest days, and you can see it's in rough shape, but I don't care. I use it year after year, and it makes me happy. It brings me right back to the 1970s. Okay, so I'm going to put a lot more lights on this tree than I usually do because I am decorating this tree a little bit differently than I usually do. I'll explain more in a little bit. Oh, phew, all the lights are working. Oh my gosh, I hate that moment where you plug it in and see if everything is working. There's the star. Oh, I'm so glad I don't have to replace any strands of lights this year. That makes me so very happy. This tree skirt was a gift from my mother's best friend, Ray, and I absolutely love it. She gave it to me, gosh, I think it was like in the 1990s. And I love the pineapple on it. It has kind of a felted appearance to it. There's no closure, so I just make sure it stays closed with safety pins in the back. Okay, we need to have a little ornament show and tell. How cute is this guy? Eric and I picked him up on a trip to Italy. That was, oh my gosh, almost 10 years ago now. How cute are these little guys? They are old clothespins that have been converted into ornaments. And here's a different variation on the same theme. We're making some good ornament progress here. Putting on some final touches. I think this is filling out nicely. All breakable ornaments are staying in the box. I am using none of them. These are all ornaments that are pretty tough. Like this one that my grandmother made. She made a whole series of these. She did the cross stitch and then she sewed them together with the fabric backing and the velvet ribbon. I love these. Okay, all of the ornaments that I planned to put on are on now. If I was using all of the fragile ornaments, you would hardly even see a scrap of branch anywhere, but I don't want to have tragedies in case the cats get into this tree and knock it over. So this is perfect just the way it is for this year. I decided not to use my usual bows and ribbons and things this year. I want a different look. I want to get away from the garland look just to change it up. So we're headed to Joann Fabric. And here we are. I hope they have what I want. If they don't, I can always order something on Amazon, but I really want to get this tree finished today. So I'm hoping I can find exactly what I need. Here's the aisle. These ribbons are nice, but I want all of the same color. And so many of these are multicolor. I want something in a like burgundy, maroonish color family and a little bit thicker than these. These are nice, but it's just not quite what I have in mind. This is exactly what I had in mind. So I'm gonna buy these. It's just the right thickness. I'm also buying this little plaid bow that will look nice on my vintage sled. And I just wanted to show you, they still have a lot of ribbon, but a good portion of these shelves are bare now as well. And of course, they have lots of ornaments. I never buy ornaments here at this time of year because they're full price. And if you wait a little bit, they go on sale and there are bargains galore. So none for me today. Well, you knew this was going to happen. Who can guess where I am? Wait for it. Oh yes, there is a pumpkin cold brew in my future. While I was at Joann's Fabrics, I bought some of this ribbon and it was on sale. So I ended up buying like 6 packages of it. And I cut the ribbon into manageable pieces so that I could tie a bow like you see here. I was able to get like 3 bows per little container because I wanted to have long strands hanging down like this. And I haven't attached these yet, obviously, but this is what it's looking like on the tree. And I think it has a really pretty old-fashioned look. And it's something just a little bit different from what I usually do. And I like the change of that. So I'm gonna keep adding a few more. I don't want too many. I don't want it to be super busy in terms of the ribbon. I like the ornaments to make the statement. But I'm enjoying this. I think it has a really fun look. I've decided to take a little break from all of the decorating, and you can see I have a friend with me. Here's Indy, and you can see over here on the side that his face is so much better. So the steroid shot that he was given has really helped him a lot. He stopped scratching. His face is finally healing. And here's the final tree. I know you're getting some backlighting coming in, but I'm very happy with this. It's exactly what I pictured and a little bit different, which is fun. So here's the tree lit up at night. I'm very happy with it. And if you've watched this video to the end, thank you so much for staying with me. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already.
and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.